La da dee do do, la da da da, na da dee.
What is up? I'm Razz Pitazz. Hope you're having a great day today getting familiar with Overwatch. This is the second video in my Overwatch overview mini-series. In this series, I go over the heroes of each class, their skills, and then I give you some general tips and advice along the way. The heroes within the defense class have no less than 200 health, putting them a mark above some of the carries in the offense class. They typically excel at holding a point in one fashion or another, and some even offer utility to the team. As the title implies, defense heroes are best used in defending against an attacking team. However, the title is a bit of a misnomer. The heroes in this class are extremely deadly, especially in trained hands, and can be useful on either side of the battle. Hailed as a noob shredder, Bastion uses an old adage as a singular means of life. The best defense is a good offense. With the largest health pool in the class and plenty of ammo to back it up, he makes for a very strong case. Bastion's first ability is Configuration Mode. With the press of a button, Bastion can switch between two different modes, Recon or Sentry. Recon mode is the default mode, allowing Bastion to move freely, outfitted with a submachine gun that deals moderately high damage at a medium to close range. The key to this configuration mode is mobility, which becomes much clearer when he switches to his Sentry mode. Sentry mode does one thing and one thing well. This forces Bastion to remain stationary as he transforms into a chain gun turret. While his apparent weakness is his lack of mobility, a blue box also becomes exposed while in this form. This box is his critical point. Despite these massive disadvantages, Bastion's Sentry configuration puts out the highest DPS in the game, bar none. While his damage is high, his lack of mobility is Bastion's largest weakness in this mode, so be sure to watch the flanks as he will become a high priority target among more experienced players. Heroes such as Genji, Reaper, Widowmaker, Hanzo, Roadhog, Pharah, and even Winston can make quick work of an unprotected and unaware Bastion. His next skill is Self-Repair, which really speaks for itself. While using this skill, Bastion can heal himself, but he cannot move at all while doing so. Bastion can self-repair in either configuration mode. This skill adds sustain and self-reliance to the hero, but it does not mitigate damage, similar to how Soldier 76's Biotic Field works. Bastion is completely defenseless while using this skill, so make sure it is safe before using it. Bastion's ultimate is his final configuration mode, Configuration Tank. When he shifts into tank mode, Bastion gains additional armor, a cannon that fires explosive shells, and 8 seconds to deal as much damage as he can. If his Sentry mode has the highest DPS, then his tank mode contends in burst damage. A direct hit can take out any small hero and put a considerable dent in the larger opponents. The splash damage is nothing to scoff at either. The only real drawback to his ultimate is that it is very easy to lose track of time and get caught out in front when the ultimate has ended. The brother of Genji, Hanzo takes a different approach to dispatching enemies while still retaining some of the flair. Labeled as a sniper, Hanzo excels at long-distance skirmishes, but his kit allows him to be useful in other ways as well. Similar to Genji, Hanzo's passive is wall climb. He may not be able to double jump, but he can still scale a wall with the best, which allows him to reach the high rises he will need to take a few shortcuts along the way to his destination. Hanzo carries his trusty Storm Bow, which can dispatch opponents from a long range. The bow deals a lot of damage if the shot hits a critical area, a headshot being able to take out many weaker heroes instantly. As you draw back the bow, the string grows tighter, allowing for a straighter trajectory than otherwise. The reticle will reflect when you have reached full tension, though you will likely get a feel for it after a few matches. His first skill is the Sonic Arrow, which emits a sphere of visibility around the point of impact. This will highlight any enemies in red within the sphere to both Hanzo and his allies. Should a Sonic Arrow make contact with an enemy, the sphere will travel with the target. If an enemy should die from the arrow, the sphere will still highlight enemy locations. It should not have to be stated how useful this is for everyone on the team, and it should be used often. More aware opponents may recognize a Sonic Arrow, so try to be sneaky with them and place them in areas where the arrow might be out of the line of sight, but still useful. Not using Sonic Arrow, however, is more of a disservice than anything else, so if you can't be sneaky, you might as well try to hit someone with it. The next skill is Scatter Arrow. Hanzo fires 3 arrows at once, which split apart upon impact and bounce against solid objects. Each arrow deals mediocre damage, but should you land the initial shot on an opponent, it will deal almost double the damage than a regular arrow. This skill is effective against quicker targets when aiming at their feet, as it will bounce up, but it is not guaranteed. It is most effective in small corridors and rooms where the arrows are likely to cover the majority of the area. This skill is great for both single eliminations and team takedowns, as Hanzo can weaken multiple enemies at once. Hanzo's ultimate is the Dragon Strike. Hanzo will fire an arrow which will then... well, just watch.
The dragon
These twin dragons can pass through any obstacle and deal serious amounts of damage. They will travel the entire map before despawning. Be sure to aim well, as Dragon Strike will travel perfectly straight along that trajectory. If you aim down at all, they will go down. Being a sniper, Hanzo's main weakness is close quarters combat. A well-aimed arrow offers a decent defense in these situations, but one wrong move and Hanzo will suffer the consequences. Try to keep your distance between yourself and the enemy. High ground always offers an advantage in Hanzo's favor. I imagine Junkrat as being the twin brother or long-lost son of the Joker from the Batman animated series. Separated at birth to go live in Australia and love explosions. Junkrat's lethality is only matched by his love for explosions. He excels at area denial, trapping, and all things that go boom. His passive is total mayhem. It ensures he has the last laugh in close quarters scenarios. Upon death, Junkrat will drop 5 bombs in a small area around his corpse, each dealing decent enough damage. Being caught by multiple bombs will guarantee a quick death for smaller heroes and will still cause considerable damage even for some of the tanks. Junkrat's frag launcher will make quick work of anyone stepping in the wrong place. The launcher will fire grenades in an arc. The splash damage alone will take chunks of health off of any opponent, and direct hits can take down even the strongest tanks. The grenades do not travel very far and have a slight bounce when they hit a surface. These characteristics make the frag launcher an excellent tool to check rooms and to dispatch opponents without putting himself in immediate danger. The drawback is the grenades do not travel very far, which makes vertical use difficult and long-range use impossible. The area for splash damage is relatively small, but when inundated with several grenades, it can be difficult for an opponent to navigate out of a literal minefield. The concussion mine will stick to any surface it is thrown onto and will only go off when Junkrat presses the detonator. He can only use one mine at a time. These mines deal decent damage in a small area and are great for setting up traps. If a mine is detonated while Junkrat is in its blast radius, then he will be pushed away from it, taking no damage at all. This can be used to give Junkrat access to high rises, to close gaps, or even as a method of escape. Mines can be destroyed by the opposing team without taking any damage at all, but a mine will stay in place as long as it is not destroyed or detonated. The next skill is Steel Trap, and it is exactly what it sounds like. This can be placed anywhere on the ground and will trap an enemy that happens to walk on it. It deals a moderate amount of damage, but it alerts Junkrat when the trap has been sprung. He can only have one trap at a time, but it will persist until it is either destroyed or has been sprung. This skill may seem somewhat useless by itself, however, consider this combo. Junkrat's ultimate is called Rip Tire. He will pull out a remote-controlled tire that is filled with explosives. Once activated, Junkrat will gain direct control of the Rip Tire, leaving him vulnerable to attack. Make sure he is safe before pulling the tire out. Junkrat will have 10 seconds to control the tire towards enemy players before it self-destructs. At any point during this period, Junkrat can manually detonate the tire. The tire can jump and ride up walls, but it cannot hard brake or slow down. When the tire explodes, it deals incredible amounts of damage in a moderate area. Enough damage and spread to kill anyone and everyone who happens to be nearby. As already stated, the major weakness is that Junkrat is completely vulnerable in this state, completely focused on the Rip Tire. Even if Junkrat were to die, he will maintain control of the tire until it detonates. The tire is destructible with a small health pool, so speed and surprise are key to utilizing this attack, as precision is key to destroying it. As smart as she is cold, Mei has harnessed the power of Frost for both scientific and competitive purposes. Her kit exemplifies the defense class, but make no mistake, she is a cold-blooded killer when given the chance. Mei's weapon is her endothermic blaster, blasting opponents in a frosty glaze until frozen. The blaster's primary fire deals moderate damage while applying a gradual slow on the target until they are finally frozen for a few moments. The blast is a narrow cone with a short reach, making it difficult to freeze multiple targets in a short period while being fairly easy to escape from. For this reason, Mei should attack her opponents outside of the line of sight, giving her those few necessary moments to land that freeze. The secondary fire charges briefly before firing an icicle at high speeds. This icicle deals moderate amount of damage, but it is deadly against low health enemies. Due to the charge time and projectile speed, it is best to lead your target rather than aim directly at them. For a guaranteed headshot, freeze your target first and then go for the killing blow. Her first skill is Cryo Freeze, encasing her in a block of ice to both negate any damage as well as heal herself over time. This skill lasts for 4 seconds or when Mei cancels it. Mei cannot move at all while using this skill, so it is important to be aware of the surroundings when using it. This skill is excellent for when Mei is low on health without a healer nearby, or if she just wants to be nice and allow the healer to go heal the other players that can't heal themselves. Cryo Freeze is also excellent at negating ultimate damage, allowing Mei to be that extra level of annoying you will come to love. The next skill is her signature ice wall, which creates 5 pillars of ice from the ground to create a wall, each pillar with a substantial amount of health. This skill is as versatile as you allow it to be, good for shortcuts, assisting and protecting teammates, as well as blocking incoming damage. There are very few situations a good ice wall can't fix. That being said, there are many situations a bad ice wall will make worse, so practice is necessary to ensure these walls are being placed where they should be. Ice wall makes for a great defensive tool, blocking turret line of sight, doorways, windows, and even choke points. Ice wall can also be used defensively, closing enemies into a dangerous area or funneling them into your team. Mei's ultimate is Blizzard, damaging and freezing any enemies in its area of influence. The damage is moderate, but frozen enemies are now vulnerable to all attacks. Blizzard is most effective in enclosed areas where a team is grouped, where it might be difficult to escape. Blizzard is very much an ultimate that is based around team fighting, as she may need additional help to clean up everyone caught within the ultimate. A good methodology is to try to trap your targets using Ice Wall immediately before or after deploying Blizzard. This Swedish engineer can be the bane of any new player's experience, making it extremely difficult to push points and even more difficult to harass the enemy. Torbjorn is one of the easier heroes to pick up, but he takes some experience and map knowledge to utilize fully. His passive is collecting scrap. Whenever an enemy dies, they will leave a pile of scrap for Torbjorn to collect. These scraps will become useful once he has collected enough. Torbjorn has 2 weapons at his disposal. The first is a rivet gun that should not be underestimated. The primary fire shoots a single rivet projectile with a slight arc. While not a one-shot kill, it does provide decent sustained damage, and headshots will still hurt substantially. The secondary fire acts more like a rivet shotgun, firing several rivets at once in a spread. This method has a much shorter range with a dramatic increase in damage. Learn to use the two situationally to become effective when encountering enemies. His second weapon is his Forge Hammer. This hammer is slower than the rivet gun with a slight damage increase. While it still packs a punch, the hammer is more effective in conjunction with his first skill than as an offensive weapon. The first skill is turret building, which is self-explanatory. The level 1 turret he builds has a single barrel, deals great sustained damage, and they have their own health pool. Not many heroes can take on a turret at full health and survive. However, very specific heroes such as Hanzo, Widowmaker, Pharah, and Winston have ways around them, making it easier to destroy. Torbjorn can only have 1 turret at a time, but they will remain until he builds a new one or it is destroyed. He can upgrade his turret to level 2 by hitting it with his Forge Hammer 6 times, which will provide the turret with a second barrel for double the damage and double the health. Using the hammer on damaged turrets will repair them. His next skill is Armor Pack. All those scraps you've been collecting, you can make armor with them. It takes 50 scrap to make 1 armor, which an ally, including Torbjorn himself, can pick up. Each armor pack will give an ally 75 armor on top of any other buffs they have. This means that if a Bastion, who already has 100 armor as part of his health pool, picks up an armor pack, his pool will increase to 175 armor. This will only last until armor is depleted. It is important as Torbjorn to armor up allies as often as possible. The turret may be keeping the enemy players at bay, but it is never guaranteed, and more experienced players will start making them a priority. Torbjorn's ultimate is Molten Core, which lasts for 12 seconds and makes life difficult for anyone fighting him. This ultimate increases his armor by 300, it increases his fire rate by 50%, and his build rate by 100%. Any level 2 turret belonging to Torbjorn will automatically upgrade to a level 3 turret, adding rocket launchers with almost double the damage output and increasing the health to almost triple. For the duration of this ultimate, Torbjorn has the largest health pool in the game, making him extremely difficult to subdue. The key here, though, is that his level 3 turret is far more dangerous than he is, so it is important that Torbjorn keeps it up, and equally important that the enemy tries to take it down. The French Maid of Murder. Widowmaker is a sniper that is as formidable up close as she is from afar. She is considered the best at what she does, and what she does is not very nice. Her weapon is the Widow's Kiss. The primary fire is an assault rifle with moderate damage but a high rate of fire. This allows her to defend herself against flankers and to pick off fleeing enemies up close. The secondary fire is the scoped form of Widow's Kiss. The assault rifle becomes a semi-automatic sniper rifle that deals extra damage on headshots. Her field of view and movement speed are significantly reduced while scoped, leaving her vulnerable to flanking maneuvers. The rifle takes 1 second to fully charge to maximum damage, recharging after every shot. Her first skill is her grappling hook. With a reach of 20 meters, it can pull her onto almost any surface. If she hooks onto the edge of a walkable surface, she will automatically climb onto it. This is Widowmaker's only means of high mobility, allowing her access to most areas other heroes don't have. The hook has an extremely long cooldown, so be mindful when using it. This skill is great for setting up perches for long shots and shooting lanes, as well as for making quick escapes should she be caught. Her next skill is Venom Mine. Able to stick to any surface, this mine will be tripped should an enemy walk within its detonation radius, emitting poisonous gas for 15 seconds and alerting Widowmaker of the event. This skill is great for trapping enemies, defending against flankers, as well as providing area denial such as on a payload. It is really hard to move a truck if the whole thing is covered in toxic gas. Widowmaker's ultimate is Infrasight, allowing her and her allies to see the enemy team for a full 15 seconds regardless of where they are and regardless of Widowmaker's status, alive or dead. Not much needs to be said about how important this is to a team. Map knowledge and awareness can trump skill in almost any shooter, so this ultimate can be devastating to an enemy team, especially if they do not have a Widowmaker of their own to even the playing field. Alright guys, that is it for this video. Keep an eye out for the next one where I'll be going over the tank class. Good luck, have fun, and as always, thanks for watching.